Welcome back to another episode of Ace Talks, where we talk about Ecuador and a little bit more. Today, we're going to talk to Roberta, who is going to tell us a little bit about Carnaval and some of the things that occurred during Carnaval, as well as a bunch of other stuff. Hello.
Hi.
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 So, talk to me, tell me. We have a lot of things to discuss when it comes to Carnaval because we're actually very close to Carnaval. Do you have any plans for Carnaval this year?
Probably. I have a friend that lives at the beach and she's my best friend and she invites me every year and she's invited me this year. So I might go tomorrow.
Do you know, I did an investigation because I actually did a video about about Ecuador's national holidays. And it says that Carnaval is like a religious celebration. Like literally it says something about some weird religion thing. I don't know. I'm not good at religion, please don't judge me. My question is, do people actually focus on the religion side of Carnaval? Like at all?
Depends, because the young people definitely don't. They just will go to the beach and spend the weekend with friends at a house or something. But like the older people, I would say yes. It's Semana Santa, what we call here Semana Santa. But I don't really know what people do in Semana Santa. I think one of the Semana Santa traditions is that you go to church and they do this they draw this.
They draw a cross.
Yes, with ashes on your forehead. I think that's one of the things. That, other than that, I don't know. And
sure?
then you cannot have sex with people because you'll become a fish.
You'll become a fish?
Yeah, that's what people say.
Wait, you cannot what?
You cannot have sex during Semana Santa or you will become a fish. I think it is that you become a fish or that you cannot separate yourself from the other person, something like that.
Sounds like the dogs when they
Yeah,
mate.
yeah.
Okay, wait. I've gotten very confused now, and I think everyone is going to be confused because that's a very interesting thing that I've never heard about. I've been here like 10 years plus, and I haven't heard about this. Okay, so first, Semana Santa is not this week. I know there's a Semana Santa because there's on the holiday. I think it's in April or something like that when it's around Easter time.
Yes.
But so is there like two Semana Santas, or is it like this is a different kind of like Holy Week?
I think that there is 40 days after Carnaval, there's something else. I think, I'm not sure, but I think there's this holiday or whatever right now, and 40 days later there's another one, like Easter or something.
Yeah, that's what we go into Easter and stuff like that. That's why I was like, I know that one,
Yeah.
but I didn't know there was also some kind of another holy. I was like, are there two holy weeks or Anyways, we're going in too deep into the holy stuff. Let's go into the my main question.
Stuff.
The holy stuff. But my main question was basically that because I've noticed throughout the years that I've been here, and maybe it was because being a kid, I'm not in the adult world that much, but no one that I've seen has celebrated Carnaval in the religious way. So that's why my curiosity was in that sense. But going back into Carnaval celebrations, I know that the city of Ambato and I think the city of Quito, because I saw a video of it on YouTube, they have parades, and I think that happens because they don't have beaches, right?
Definitely.
They just have the parade. They do the same thing here as they do here, though. They throw foam.
That's their way of having fun since they have no beaches.
That's why the people come from Quito to Manaví,
Yes.
to the coast.
Many people from the highlands come to the coast during this time because also the classes there I think are over by now or something because the classes there start in September. I don't know, but it's different. I think they have free time, so they come here and they enjoy the beach. That's why you see many people that are not from costeños here during this time.
The costeños. There's always that's another interesting topic, but maybe we'll touch up on that later. The difference between a costeño and I guess someone from the highlands, serrano as they would say,
Yes.
or specifically from each place, quiteño. And Puerto Vejense in this case. But going into the further questions of Carnaval, a lot of the time, in my video, I didn't get to say it, I think, but the situation with coming to the coast, for anyone, not just people from Ecuador, if you're coming from outside of the country, Carnaval season, right now, this is the Carnaval season. Like literally, it's Friday, like 2 days before Carnaval officially starts, and I'm pretty sure people are already like celebrating.
Of course.
But that's the thing, you have to prepare ahead of time because the beaches are full. The beaches, like, there's gonna be no places to rent, and even if there were, they're probably more expensive.
They will be more expensive, definitely.
This
People sometimes take advantage that it's overcrowded and these people have no place to stay, so they raise their prices.
Business.
Yeah,
I'm not surprised.
Yes.
But it is. I guess it's kind of unfortunate, but I guess it comes with the season. What I wanted to know is, would you recommend, like, just assume if I were in Quito or anywhere else in the country that's not the coast, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna spend Carnaval, in the coast. Would you recommend for me to drive during the days of Carnaval or come ahead of time to avoid the traffic?
Definitely come ahead of time. Carnival, this time the streets are horrible. It's full of cars and so many people, and everyone is rushing up. So people are like, I don't know, meaner and rude, and it's not nice. And also, it's always a time for accidents, all the time. So it's always better if you come here ahead of time, so you avoid all of that, and it's way safer. Especially you have to drive during the day, I guess, because it's better always to drive during the day. And people come from, like, for example, Quito. It's like a 7-hour drive, so it's a long time to be behind the wheel. So I definitely come ahead of time. It's always better. You will not regret that.
People from the highlands make a tremendous sacrifice to come to. Now that I think about it, it's not just the fact that, because think about it, even if you were to, like, say I'm gonna come ahead of time, that means if you were working, you would have to, like, not work a certain day so you can come like early to be able to be here, so that way you're not like with the whole traffic situation, and finding a place too if you didn't reserve one, because most people, I assume, reserve places. Like, people are offering their houses and stuff like that.
Airbnbs are like, oh, yay.
That's where it's at.
Yes.
I honestly never rented an Airbnb at all in my life. So, like, the most I've been to is obviously like a hotel, obviously, because, hotels. But, like, never to an Airbnb. Like I don't know what the difference is. I'm not going to ask that now. We can talk about that some other time. It's just, I'm wondering if the price is that like, much more substantial. It's more expensive than a hotel, right? But it has a lot more.
Yes, it has more privacy. Sometimes the place is better. It's not just your room. You have like a kitchen, like a space for you to be, to chill, to relax. And sometimes the prices are like the same or like around the same. And I have stayed at Airbnbs here, and I have liked it a lot, maybe because all of them were at the beach and it was just great. So sometimes you cannot find those deals in hotels, or maybe the views or something. Airbnb sometimes have more things that even if you get the best hotel, sometimes you cannot get those benefits, and that's, I guess, why people choose Airbnbs. Also, like, if you go with a group of friends, it's always going to be cheaper because you can, you
can split the cost.
Exactly. It's fun. It's good. I like it.
I need to coordinate to do that one day. It just feels like it would be fun.
It's so cool, like, to go with your friends, and it's so nice. It's like just you, like, you're living together for a short period of time. It's fun.
It feels almost like renting an apartment, but like not full term.
Exactly.
Just like for a specific amount of time.
Yes.
Anyways, we went too far into the Airbnb stuff. Going back into this whole Carnival situation. So we understand now the process of getting to the beach is not a good thing if you don't like do it ahead of time. In the coast, I guess no one can really do it ahead of time if their children are still in school.
Exactly.
That's why I'm always thinking that people are like, ever since, like, for example, this year it's Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So for me, like, either Friday or Thursday, people are already like, we're not working, our children aren't going to school, we're going to the beach. But once you arrive at the beach, and this is where what you said comes into play, the whole situation with like the streets being full, that's a reality in Carnaval. Like, people aren't just like on the beach, they are literally on the streets, they're everywhere, like, just, it's overpopulated.
It is. The streets. I usually spend like Carnaval in San Clemente, and it's crazy. Last year, I remember there was even shooting, something like horrible. Like you were dancing and having fun, and then you were like, oh, like over there, somebody just shot at somebody else, and you're like, what? And then people running because they heard the shots, and horrible. That's a bad part of it. And like you said, the streets are always crowded, and sometimes there's people drunk and they still want to drive through that street that's full of people, and then there's a problem because the people are drunk and the driver is drunk and everybody was like, hey, problems. It's never good. So you need to be careful. Even if you're drinking, you have to be careful because there's always going to be somebody around you that's going to do something that's not appropriate or it's dangerous. Or you need to be always like
This reminds me of my tips video where I said Ecuadorians are like the kindest people around, and it's true. Like if you ask people from the States, they're comparatively like kind. But like in my mind, I was like, Ecuadorians are nice until they drink, and they become. And this is nice. English with Ace and Roberta, since we are teachers. The word belicoso or belicosa, how would you translate that into like English?
God.
Because that's like the word when people start to get kind of like, aggressive and not like...
Belicoso is such a special term. I don't know. How would I put it in English? I don't know. I don't know.
We have to find the synonym. It's just kind of like, I guess we could describe it. When someone is belicoso, I understand that they become kind of aggressive. Like their actions, like maybe as a normal person, like not drunk, they're just like really, they can be really nice. But when they become belicoso, like they want to find a fight for like every situation. Like if you said something they didn't like, they want to fight about it.
Exactly. And even if you say, oh, it's fine, let's just forget about it. They're like, no, you just said this or something. They're always going back around it. And I don't know. People, I guess, with alcohol, sometimes they just want to start a fight or cause some troubles and something interesting to their lives, I guess. I don't know. They also like start being repetitive. They start saying, the same stuff over again, and you're like, oh, you're getting drunk.
Is that when like you're with your friend and they're like, man, I love you. You're really cool.
Yes, that's horrible. I hate that. I've had friends like, I really love you. You guys are so cool. I love you. Like, I'm there for you. And I'm like, okay.
As someone who doesn't drink, I enjoy like the most from this kind of situation because I get to see it all unfold from beginning to end and never have a moment just like disappear from my mind. The whole story, I know it. Like sometimes drunk people like the day after, like, damn, I only remember this, and I'm like, I remember everything. Dude, you don't want to know what happened.
When your friend is like, I remember everything you did, and you're like, what did I do?
It's so embarrassing if the person did something awkward.
It is. That's why also when I drink, and if I'm like on the street or with people that maybe I'm not too close to, I try to not to drink too much because I don't want to get drunk and like do or say something inappropriate in front of other people who are like the next day going to be like, oh, you said that yesterday. And I'm like, no, I didn't.
I think that would be general culture for when drinking. Like if you know you're in a place where there's a lot of people you don't know and like maybe you don't have someone to take care of you.
Exactly, it can be dangerous too.
Ideally avoid like over drinking in that kind of situation. Because look, okay, going back to the whole Carnaval situation. Carnaval is, to me, I don't know if you agree with this and you can tell me after, but Carnaval is like the holiday where you just, A, go to the beach, obviously. B, drink like there is no tomorrow. Like I've seen people drink here in Puerto Viejo and like in most cities. It's like, it's normal. Ecuadorians drink lots. Like there's no denying that. Because everyone who comes from even different cities, they're like, oh, we like to go out and drink. I'm like, I thought this was just Puerto Viejo. No, that's Ecuador. And I'm like,
that's everybody.
Okay. So I'm the weird one here. So, okay, drinking. Obviously some smoking, like from time to time. I'm not sure about the situation with drugs. I just know that people, like, they do tell me that, you can smell when it's around.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Nowadays, and we're going to go into history in a bit, there are concerts. Like in a lot of the cities, they hold specific concerts for like
Oh yes.
each like well, not every city maybe, but I know that like for example Cresita they have a concert.
They do that like every year,
Mhm.
so it's like a tradition there already. And
I think Manta has one too, right?
Yes, Manta. Manta and Crucita are like the main ones, I would say. I think San Clemente, like San Clemente has always been there because my brother used to go there when he was like my age, and I have friends and I go there all the time. And it's a nice little town, and I think that people go there because they know like they can get wasted, I guess, because you don't have concerts there. It's just people chilling, talking, having fun, loud music on the street. But it's nice, but like as long as you're with friends and having a good time, I would say it's nice.
I think I'll leave that for in a bit. We'll talk about the stories because I did go to San Clemente like twice actually, but one of the times was really cool because I went on my bike. But we'll talk about that after. But those are the typical things that I see like related to Carnaval. Oh, and I know I'm forgetting. So after the possible drugs, obviously, there's the people throwing water at you, people throwing foam at you, people just throwing stuff at you in general. Because in the past it was worse.
No, yeah, it was way worse. Like if you were driving your car, like if you were on the highway, even somebody would like. I remember this one time I was a kid. I was maybe 7, and we went to the beach with my dad, my mom, and my aunt and my uncle with my cousins. And when we were coming back, something happened. Like some people were like throwing water at the cars, and they threw water at us. And I think that my aunt had my cousin that was a baby. So my uncle got mad, and then they were like fighting with these people, not like physically fighting, but talking. And it was horrible because you never know what kind of people you are like up against. You don't know if that person is a good person or a bad person or an aggressive person. So in a way, it was definitely worse. But last year also, I remember I was driving with my friends. I was in a car and we had the windows down, but big mistake. And all of a sudden we were soaking wet. We just did like, what happened? The car inside was like
a pool.
Yes, and we're like, where did that water come from? And you have to get used to it, I guess, because it's worthless to say something or to like, hey, what are you doing?
It's culture.
Yeah, just get on with your day.
Like get mad if you want, but like getting mad is just gonna make your day worse. So
just laugh
keep
it off.
Laugh it off. Don't. So that would come into an advice, and maybe we'll say it again later. But like when you're driving, first of all, don't keep your windows down.
Exactly.
Second of all, don't bring anything you're worried about losing for various reasons aside from it getting wet. So those are the two main pieces of advice we can get from that. But going back into the past, and maybe you can like help like explain this because I swear I feel like if I mention it, maybe people won't believe me. But I've been here long enough that this is a reality. So some of the worst things that I've seen happen during Carnaval, because I've lived through them, is one, there was a time where people threw rotten eggs at people. Like, they were throwing rotten eggs. That was a time, like, we're talking about a long time ago though, before the police got serious about it, because before it was like, I don't know who came up with that though, like, who was the maniac who was like, oh, let's throw rotten eggs at people, but like, there were people who threw rotten eggs, and not just rotten eggs. That was the first thing. People would throw dirty water at people, like not clean water, like, oh, you can accept clean water, like, oh, okay, they threw water at me.
I just read somebody on Twitter saying, oh, when I was a kid during Carnaval, people used to throw fish blood at you, and I'm like,
oh,
what?
Ew.
That will get me pissed off because that's disgusting, but definitely has happened.
That is beyond disgusting. Dirty water, fish blood, the eggs. There's the foam that's not normal foam because it dirties your clothes and like you can't clean it off. And going a little bit, and I don't know if this is a Carnaval specific thing, and it's also, I'm not sure if it's a Quito specific thing. And since you mentioned the whole Twitter situation, in Facebook, I'm in a group, and someone had talked about, they posted a picture, and I don't know if you've heard this or seen this, but the picture was of a guy, or maybe it was or someone else, but not the guy, but they had like a shirt, and it was an orange shirt they put it in the sink. And you saw that it had a whole bunch of like ink spots or like black spots on it. And they said, someone just threw this at me. Like the comment was this, and then someone just threw it at me. Is this normal? And then afterwards, someone replied. Like some people replied, it was Carnaval. But I'm like, but they posted that like on Tuesday, and I'm like, nah, people ain't celebrating Carnaval that early. I mean, people are desperate for Carnaval, but like, if you're starting to throw stuff on Tuesday, nah, you're like you would say in Spanish, you're sick, man. But someone did comment, someone else. I asked for like more details, but they just said this is a robbing scheme. That there's people who throw something at you, like ink, something like, and they offer like clean or help you out, and then they rob you. Like I don't know if this is a current robbing method or stealing method, like, and I don't know if it's linked to Carnaval, since it's like, I guess you could assume that people would think, oh, it's normal that people are throwing stuff and they want to help because, oh, they feel bad, quote unquote. So I don't know if you've heard of that, you've seen that.
I haven't, but it definitely wouldn't surprise me because sadly there's many people here who are vivos, you know, and they just try to find a way to, I guess.
Vivos is a good term.
Yeah.
The best translation for that in my mind is like they're slick. They think they can get one over on you.
Many people here are like that, and many people wait for holidays to take advantage of people. Maybe people who like don't know the traditions, or people who are not used to them, or just try to find a way to scheme, I guess.
It does happen a lot that during this holiday time, or during holidays in general, that's why they say during Christmas, like that's the robber season, because they know everyone goes out with money to buy things. So it's a very bad time to go out with money, but what choice do you have? Because, I mean, you want to buy stuff for your kids if you have kids, or if you have someone you want to give something to, you go out and buy stuff, and you need money for that. So it's just a normal thing that happens. But I wanted to mention that because someone had linked it to Carnaval. But since I've never seen someone do that specifically, I just know obviously people throw dirty stuff at you, so it dirties your clothes. But I was wondering if it was a new scheme that maybe like, you know, someone knew a little bit more about. But anyways, that's just one of the various things that I would say is that I've seen in terms of crime-related stuff. And I kind of want to leave that for later, but I guess we might as well talk about it now. Crime. You did mention that in the story that you said people were shooting where you were at last year. Can you tell me other experiences or more details on that one?
Okay, that was last year, and I remember that I was with my friends, close to my friend's house, and we just heard somebody saying, oh, they were shooting like over there. And then we just saw people like running. And we were all scared because you didn't know where the shootings, you know, where the shots came from or anything. You didn't know if somebody was around you. And I also remember that night that, of course, the street was full of people drunk, dancing and drinking. And there was this car, a white car, coming our way in a, you know, fast, a drunken driver. And people were like, oh, like get off the car, don't like go to the sides. And like somebody, I think, broke the windshield of the car with a bat. And I just heard like the people fighting over there. Of course I didn't go there because they didn't know the people and it was dangerous. But I just saw a lot of people around the car like fighting and, you know, cursing at each other. But it was horrible. We got scared because we saw that car like pass by a few times, very fast, and not in a way that you would think the driver is, you know, sober. So it was horrible. And that's something that, like I said, you need to always be really careful about that, always, because there's imprudentes everywhere.
There's imprudence. That does exist, imprudence. And I'm really not surprised that, well, first, the fear is very much justified because you go to this celebration, like this is a holiday. Like people want to have fun, people want to relax. So you don't go with the thought of being afraid. But like when you know how people are, like here, aside from how they normally are, because here sometimes, you know, these things happen, like you're not sure if you can go and like just not worry about anything at all because this might happen, or not just that, other things might happen. Personally, I've never been like witness to these situations either. I don't really go out much, and even worse during Carnaval. I have gotten invited through some years, and the worst things that have happened are only things that I've heard about. And one of the things that I heard was that someone got stabbed I think it was in Crucita. It was just, in an alleyway, someone had gotten stabbed, and it was like people were freaking out. The other, not the worst thing, but bad thing that I've heard happen, it's a typical thing if you're in a crowd, because like we said, it's overcrowded. So everyone is like on top of each other, which is also weird because now that I think about it, people also go to Carnaval to dance. But like, how do you dance if like each person is like on top of each other? Like, are you guys really dancing or just kind of like moving?
Both.
I don't know, but basically what I'm going at is during that chaos, since you don't know what kind of what kind of push you're receiving, someone might slip their hand into your pocket, take your phone, take your wallet, and stuff like that. So the worst things I've heard is the stabbing and the whole robbery of like stuff if you have it in your pocket.
That's when I go out during Carnaval. I never take my phone with me. I never take anything of value with me because I don't want to worry about it. Because if I'm gonna drink, I don't want to be like, oh, where's my phone? I leave everything at home, so I'm like, you can't rob me because I have nothing.
Well, they can rob you. Like they can take you.
There's a lot of people. I don't think they would rob.
Hey, I've seen worse things happen in other countries. Where in other countries they slip like a drug into your drink and they just they take you away.
That's another thing. Don't take drinks from strangers.
Well, I mean that's a given anywhere
I know, but
in the world.
sometimes people are dumb, especially like sometimes like teenagers. Free alcohol.
Well, let's not say dumb. Let's say innocent, because there could also be people who just think like, okay, it's just a normal culture thing. Because here, when someone just joins the group, like they just offer you a drink.
Right. That's right.
That's a culture thing. But like if it's someone that's not in the group and someone who just randomly gives you a drink,
or you're like, no, thank you, I don't drink. You're drunk, but I don't drink.
I'm half wasted, but no, I don't drink. Like you're like falling on the floor and stuff. You're like leaning on your friend. No, I don't drink. I would find that hilarious, but no, it is true. Like you gotta be careful with that. It's not just everywhere else in the world. A lot of the situations that happen during Carnaval are things that don't just happen obviously here. Like a lot of the things that I talk about, I do realize that they're things that don't just happen in Ecuador. They're things that happen everywhere in the world. But we're talking specifically about Ecuador here, in order to inform and avoid anyone going through any kind of situation. But it is something that happens. There are a lot of things that you could say do happen that might happen everywhere in the world. The shootings, we know that happens in other parts of the world. The whole stabbing also. Once again, we go back to the situation of, hey, I want to enjoy my Carnaval, so I don't want to get shot or stabbed. So it's like, it's a good thing to know that it could happen. But I think those are the worst things that I've heard happen. Other than, getting dirty and all that stuff makes you angry, but it's not a horrible.
Exactly. And you're going out and it's Carnaval and you're like, kind of prepare for it. So you're like, they're gonna put like foam all over me. But I just have to breathe. Yes. I hate the foam because it gets my hair so ugly, tangled, and oh no. I'm trying to look cute.
It's like you're not helping.
Yes.
I get you. I just don't like it if it gets on my clothes. Like if it gets on my skin, I'll be like, whatever. But if it gets on my clothes, it's like...
It's like sticky afterwards. I'm like, oh.
Kind of nasty. And I remember, but this, not in Carnaval, but recently someone was like, we were at an anime event and it was at the park and they were giving out this bubble thing, thing that shoots bubbles. I don't even know what it's called, but they were giving it out and people were shooting it, and if it landed on you, it would leave you kind of sticky, it would leave a little sticky mark, and you'd be like, what is this? And it looked kind of nasty, so you're kind of sus. And the foam itself, that's why the foam has been regulated now. Because I remember before they would just sell foam, and if it dirtied your clothes, whatever. But now I think that's not legal. You can't sell that kind. I think. I don't want to say that that's the reality, because you could get foam on you that dirties your clothes and never gets fixed again. But I do remember that they said they can't sell that kind of foam. I remember that, but I don't remember where I heard that.
It's probably true, because I remember last year, my clothes didn't get stains or anything. It was annoying and everything, but it didn't dirty my clothes or ruin them.
At least.
Yes.
At least there's a little bit of control on that. And
I
said,
it just disappears, it doesn't leave a mark.
And like I said, there's now more control in what they throw at you as well. They can't throw
Yes.
rotten eggs at you anymore. They can't throw dirty water at you
Oh
anymore.
my god, that would be so horrible.
It would. Like I would be so mad. Like I would go back and probably fight. Like I'm not a person
If
who
they
fights.
throw eggs at me, I would just like make a hair mask with it. But if they're rotten, I cannot do
Ew,
that.
if they're rotten apart, like, separate from the fact that they're like rotten, like they got your stuff dirty, they must smell horrible.
Exactly.
Ugh.
Oh my goodness.
They just thinking about like throwing eggs, it just reminded me that just a few weeks ago, I think, there was like a shortage of eggs in the States, and they were expensive.
Yes, I saw that.
They were expensive. So like people over here just like throwing eggs, like, bro, you got money.
Yes, I saw that people were like, why are eggs so expensive here? I cannot eat breakfast.
The eggs are the toilet paper of these current months. Because remember during the pandemic, it was toilet paper. You had toilet paper.
Yes, people are crazy.
Everyone was stockpiling toilet paper. Now people were probably stockpiling eggs. What are they going? Oh, and during the season they stockpile foam, of course, because they want to throw it at you. But
The kids with the foam.
Oh
Today I saw
my
like
God.
20 kids all like with black faces because during the last day of school they usually like play with colors and throw things at each other, and they were all horrible on the street. And they looked like little devils, but it was funny. I did that too when I was in my youth.
So basically, there's a lot of things going on in Carnaval. We understand that by this point now. And we've focused a lot of our energy, unfortunately, on some of the bad things, but Carnaval is a good time.
Yes.
So, in terms of Carnaval experiences, what would you say, like, I guess going into the past, like, what was your best Carnaval? Like, what happened during that Carnaval that made it the best? And, like, what makes a good Carnaval in your opinion?
A good carnaval. For me, a good carnaval is a time where I can have fun with my friends and we can be, we know we're safe and we know we can just be ourselves. For me, it's that, friends, because I always spend it with my friends, and sometimes people I haven't seen in months. Like I don't see my friends from high school that often anymore, and this is a time where I can see them and I can, catch up and talk to them. So I like this time, and also because I love the beach and I love, just the whole environment of music and people just talking and chilling. Because if you're responsible, it can be good, it can be fun, if you are safe and everything. So I think for me that's the best part. And Carnaval last year was really good because I was out for 5 days, I don't know. I mean, I was with...
You were out for 4 or 5
not out,
days.
Yeah,
I understood it knocked out. I was like, wow.
No, not like
4 or
that.
5 days.
No, not like that. But yeah, I was 4 days of waking up and then getting dressed and then just going out, going back home to eat, and then going out again, and then just going to sleep very, very late and waking up a few hours later to continue partying. So it was really nice because also it was like a recess from real life because you just forget about everything. You can wake up whenever, you can go to sleep whenever, and you just have fun, and it's fine. So last year was really good. I really liked it. There are some things I regret though, but it was fine.
The gunshots.
Yes.
I mean, that's not something you can regret. That was unfortunate, but everything else is cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. I really liked it.
On the other hand, in terms of Carnaval, like I said, I don't have a lot of Carnaval stories because I don't go out a lot during Carnaval. I don't go out a lot in general. But in Carnaval, the best, I guess, 2 experiences was when I actually drove my motorcycle to the beach. I went with a friend. We were carrying someone. I was carrying his cousin. And his cousin, I remember once I saw him, his cousin, and he was like, "Oh, hey, you remember we went to the beach? Yeah, a long time ago."
Nice.
And he was carrying his girlfriend at the time. Now they're married.
I thought you were gonna say now they don't talk to each other.
I mean, that could have been the alternative option, but no, they're actually married now. They're
Nice.
together. But we went to the beach. In that occasion, we went, the typical Carnaval situation, I think it was San Clemente too. And we walked around. There were a lot of people drinking, a lot of people just having fun. And at the end of the night, we were gonna spend the night, but we didn't have like any place to spend. We were just gonna we were gonna pitch a tent. We brought stuff to like.
That's awesome.
Pretend. But you know what the funny thing was? The funny thing was that when we went and we were like looking for a place to stay, we ran into my ex, and I remember she had a house at the beach. Like I didn't remember that at the moment, obviously, but when I talked to her, she was like, "Oh, we have a place." And I was like, oh, that's cool. And I don't remember how we came to the topic of like how we were gonna spend the night, but they're like, oh, if you don't have a place to spend, you can put your tent on the top of our roof.
Great.
And that's what we did. We went there and we were like,
oh, that's awesome.
So we felt super safe. Like it was great. Like we felt safe. We didn't feel bad. It was like we didn't have to just like pitch a tent in the middle of like the sand or anything. Like no, just there. It was like, it doesn't happen obviously all the time. Like you're not just gonna randomly find your ex and she's gonna offer you her house.
And also that's because you're still like friends.
Yeah.
Because if you like broke up in bad terms, she would have been like,
You're like, oh, enjoy your time over there.
enjoy your tent.
Oh my god, that would have been horrible. But no, it was good. It was good. We had that. I don't remember if we spent more than we just spent one day because I don't remember spending more than one time. And the good thing is we went in motorcycles.
Right.
Bad because people threw stuff at us. Good because you got there easily because you didn't have to go through the traffic. Like the traffic, like I said, is mainly in cars. You're like stuck there forever until a car moves. But like with the motorcycle, it's just cut through and make it to where you had to go. So it was good. It was good. It was fun. And other than that, that was like. The other time that I had a good time was when I went with my best friend, Nacho, and we also I think went to San Clemente. But the reason why it was a good time was like you said, I got to spend with my friend, and he was like he's my best friend. He's always been my best friend since I've been here. So it was like fun spending time with him. We were with other people too. I can't even remember everyone else. I just remember him. But it was fun. And other than that, I really haven't had like a lot of other Carnaval experiences that I could say stand out to the point where I don't even remember them, even if I did have them. They were either that bad or they just don't exist. But all the time, it's just the things that you hear, the things that you see. Like I said, the person getting stabbed was something that I heard about. The situation with drugs, like once again, I don't know if that's actually like real because from what I understand, drugs are like not supposed to be legal, but like at the same time, like depends on the drug and like the use. So like you like have any information about that?
Well, I remember last year I remember the smell of weed, people smoking it, and I was like, oh, where is it coming from? And I couldn't see it because, travels or something. But that's all I remember. I know people do other things, but I didn't see anyone doing anything other than smoking, drinking, and smoking cigarettes and weed and drinking, and that's all. That's all I saw, honestly. But I know that there's people who do other things. I just didn't see it.
I just know that there's definitely people who do weed because it's kind of like, I don't know how you say it in English, but it's descarado, the level of like, people sell happy brownies, right? And in theory, that's weed, and it's not permitted, but people sell it, and like they sell it online, and like we're like the police,
happy brownies on Saturday.
Yeah, and I'm like, is there no police or like, do they not care? Like,
I honestly don't know.
Like, I'm so confused. Like, I don't mind. Like, people can like do what they want. They can be happy. Like, you can smoke, you can drink, do weed. Everyone should be able to do what they want as long as they don't affect
anyone else.
No afecta el prójimo, like you would say in Spanish.
Yeah.
But like, it's so weird because the rule is there, and I don't feel like it's always enforced. Like, you get me? Like, there are people who like it will be enforced for certain people, and it won't be enforced for like other people. So that's where I'm like, is it really a rule or is it just like, general understanding? Like, depends on the person.
I think it's weird because honestly during Carnaval, you see the cops mostly like doing rounds and driving around and saying that everything is okay, but they're not like, oh, don't smoke this, don't do that. Because I think if they do that for every person, they're never gonna stop. They're never gonna go home.
You're gonna have like 1,000 people in jail by the end of the day.
I've heard of people like, we were smoking and the cops got there and they just like took our weed and let us go. That's mostly what happens if you're not carrying a lot of it. I've heard that from a few people who have gone through that. But if you carry a lot of it, I don't know what the protocol is. I know they take it away. I don't know if they take you to jail or not. You know, the situation with the cops here is also really like, it's complicated.
It's complicated. It's hit or miss, and it's mainly miss over hit. Like earlier, like I was gonna say this at the beginning, but earlier I was so happy. Like you can't compare the level of happiness, and I shouldn't have been that happy, but I was so happy when I was driving my motorcycle, and I drove next to another motorcycle, and there was a police like drove by also, like but on the scooter motorcycle. Like, I don't know what you would call it, but like they drove by. And there was a guy who was wearing like a uniform. I'm guessing he's a security guard. He looked like a security guard. And he wasn't wearing his helmet. And typically, like, the police sometimes, like, they don't care. Like, they don't even, like, pay attention to that. And the police used the siren and said, put on your helmet. And I was like, oh my God, the police is doing their job. I was, like, so happy. Like, if he would have stopped him, it would have been, like, the perfect setting. Like it's not like I'm wishing bad things on people, but, like, you know, follow the rules. Exactly. Like don't put people in danger. Like don't put yourself in danger. Exactly. That's literally putting yourself in danger. Like come on, man. I also saw an image last night where there was someone who talked about the reflector, I guess, that they had it on the back of the car, and like the light at night shines to like the person who's behind you, so they can't see. So like you're not supposed to have it. That's actually illegal, and it was cool because the person who posted it, someone who was their friend, and this is where like, you know, knowing people helps, they were like, that's not legal and I'm gonna make sure that doesn't happen again. And because he was a transit cop, so he actually was like...
It's really nice when you see the cops are doing their job. You're like oh, I'm so happy.
Yeah, you come to the point in Ecuador where you're like, we have cops?
I know, when I was coming here, I saw that like 2 cops had stopped the car, and I could just think, like, I don't know. People here don't have that much trust in the police force, I guess. It's sad.
But there's reasons for that. It's not like people just distrust the police force because they just distrust them.
And it always makes me think that it's really sad because the police are supposed to protect you, you know, to look after you, to be there, to tell you that, that's wrong, don't do that, so you know better. But sometimes it's like, we are on our own and like there's no police and we're like...
It's kind of getting to that point worldwide because in the States, recent happening, if you have not seen this, for everyone who listens to this podcast, the police in the States, they beat down this 19-year-old boy because he was evading them, but apparently it wasn't even just a normal beatdown. Like they released the footage for that, and they said it was like they were beating a piñata. Like, how can you compare like beating someone to that level where you say that's like hitting an actual piñata? The guy died. The kid died, by the way. And those cops, like, I mean, I hope they don't have a job again.
I don't know how they can do that. Like, don't they have empathy? Like, do you feel bad for that person?
I mean, just think of all the race-related situations with cops.
I know.
I don't want to go too much into that because, like, I only know it on a surface level from what I see. But, like, a lot of the things that happen do seem to have some relation to race. And when it doesn't have relation to race, people find a way to link it to race anyways. So it's like... It's a complicated matter in general because you go into a lot of theories like what is the actual situation. I kind of feel like in general it just comes from the policemen themselves. Like even here, what happens to a person with power, like, and not just police power, but like money or any kind of power, they become someone who thinks they're just better and above everyone else. So they just don't listen to the rules the way they're supposed to. That's why the police stop people here to like take bribes, not to actually stop them because they deserve to be stopped, but it's like to get some money out of them because, hey, if you don't, you're in trouble. It's a tough situation with the police.
It really is.
Look, that's a whole video. That's a whole episode. That's a whole episode on its own. But anyways, going back to Carnaval and the beach to like give some finishing thoughts. So, as someone who's lived here your whole life, what would you tell someone who wants to spend Carnaval here? Like the most positive things, the 3 most positive things like they could do, and the main things they should look out for.
The beach. Go to the beach. It's beautiful, wonderful. Eat seafood. I'm picky with food, but I love fish, so eat fish and have fun. Just like be safe and be aware of your environment, but have fun. And the three things that I think you shouldn't do is if you're going to be out with friends and like don't take anything of value. Don't take your phone, don't take your smartwatch. Just try to get rid of that for the night. Another thing I wouldn't recommend is like driving. Just stay where you are. Don't drive during Carnaval because it's horrible to drive because it's full of people everywhere and there could be accidents and I don't like it. And the last thing you shouldn't do, that's hard. What shouldn't you do? I don't know.
Mental block. So there's only two main things you should mainly avoid. I guess the third one would just be random suggestions of, caution and stuff like that. Maybe don't, like we had said earlier, don't accept things from people you don't know.
Yes.
Maybe don't go to certain, like this is just general advice, don't go to certain areas that you know might not be the best. If you see a place that there's no people, that's probably not a good place to be.
Exactly.
So I would personally
You have to
recommend
be street smart.
Street smart. I don't know, I just feel like I've always lived my life of innocence, so like I see an empty place, I say, oh, there's space here, but no, that's not
My parents always say that you always have to think the worst. It's sad, but I guess it works, because
it keeps you on your toes.
It does.
One thing that I almost forgot, like just to end everything, I guess, in every place you go to in the coast, it's going to be super noisy, right? Like super just annoying. So for people who aren't from here, like expats, and well, they live here now, you would probably say that like during that time, would it be worth it to like consider not being at the beach if they want to avoid the noise? Like if they live in a beach city, like just take a 4-day vacation and go to maybe the Highlands or something?
I think sure, because it's definitely loud, and it's not just loud for music, it's people talking and it's cars and beep beep and everything and music from here, coming from here and there, and if you don't like that, you're definitely going to be like horrible. You're not going to be okay, you're not going to feel good, and you're not going to be comfortable. For example, my dad hates all of that loud environment, so he avoids it. So if you can avoid it, then you should, because you're not gonna like it.
I can imagine. As someone who doesn't like noise, I'm guessing anyone who doesn't like noise wouldn't like to be in an environment like that. But okay, I guess that would be it for now. There's not really much else to talk about in terms. I mean, there's a lot we could go into detail on, but I think we have the general idea of what a carnaval would look like and the things that you might come to expect during carnaval. So Roberta, I appreciate you taking the time. As usual, thanks once again for being a part of the show. And everyone, I hope you stay tuned for the next episode. As always, ace out.